In this lesson, you're going to learn about a new chess concept called a pin, and there's two types of pins. There's an absolute pin and a relative pin. Hopefully you remember this position that we've gotten to in the last two lessons, where we talked about controlling the center and developing our pieces, and then being one move away from that special move called castling. But this is also a great position to teach these concepts of relative pins and absolute pins. So what I'm going to do is quickly wipe out all the pieces that don't need to be in this position to teach these two concepts, and then we'll get going with understanding these two different types of pins. Alright, so now we're back with just these few pieces on the board, and we can really describe what this idea of a pin means. So the first type of pin that I want you to understand is called an absolute pin. An absolute pin means that one of your pieces is being pinned to your king. So in this situation, the black bishop is pinning this white knight to the king, meaning that it's illegal for this white knight to get out of this pin. If it chose to move, it would be exposing a check from this bishop, and that's illegal. You can never expose your king to a check in the game of chess. A relative pin means that one of your pieces is being pinned to a different one of your pieces that's of higher value. So in this circumstance, this black bishop is pinning the white knight to the white queen, which the queen we learned is already the strongest, the best fighting piece you have. So that means that although it's not an absolute pin, meaning it's not illegal for this knight to move, it could choose to move on the next move, but it's a relative pin because it's relatively a really bad idea to move that pin piece, because it means that that better valued piece is being exposed to an attack. Here's another example of an absolute pin. It's an absolute pin because this knight is being pinned to the king. So remember, anytime a piece is being pinned to the king, it's an absolute pin because this knight cannot move. It absolutely is pinned. If it moves, it opens up a line of check, which is illegal, so you can't do that. This means if this knight stays here and it's pinned and the king doesn't get out of the pin, if black had a different piece, say this bishop, that was also attacking that pin piece, it means this knight is in big trouble, because on the next move, black would either be able to take with their bishop, or they could take with their rook. And white couldn't do anything about it because they can't recapture since it's being protected. Here's another example of a relative pin, because this black queen is pinning this white knight to the rook. And what that means is that this knight can move, but that it's going to lose their better valued piece, the rook. So for this lesson, all I want you to do is set up this position right here and grab a buddy, take turns explaining the difference between an absolute pin and a relative pin. Try to put this in your own words. It'll really help you understand the concept, and then be on a lookout for being able to get your opponent into these types of pins as you play the game of chess. If you can remember these two things for this lesson, the idea of a relative pin and an absolute pin, you're doing super great. And I'll see you back here in the next video. Thanks for watching.